I love maps that have a lot of character to them. Maps with details and colors, visible locations and environments. Maps used not just for practical purposes like information or direction, but true works of art. A great example of this would be books that come with maps, usually fantasy, like The Lord of the Rings. Princess Bride has a great one, or The Phantom Tollbooth. In the beginning, you get a sneak peek of all the cool places to look forward to discovering. And after you finish the book, you can relive all the memories you made on the journey by retracing your steps through the illustrations. When it comes to maps in media, I gotta give it up for the Game of Thrones main title sequence. Probably the most iconic television map at this point, and for good reason. It was full of intricate details brought to life through various handcrafted mechanisms, and would be updated to reflect what was happening in the story, with sigils changing or buildings burning, and you know I'm a fan of ever-changing opening sequences. Movies gave us that map from the Goonies that had the foldable parts to reveal hidden locations and a secret music note combination on the back. Pirates of the Caribbean had that cool map with the spinning parts. Harry Potter had the Marauders map that showed everyone's location in real time. And of course, Raiders of the Lost Ark had the map room that led Indy to the Well of Souls by lining up the staff's headpiece with the sun at dawn. You gotta love those interactive elements that maps can have, and it doesn't get any more interactive than video game maps. Being able to scan your eyes across an overview shot of a strange new world always makes me excited to explore. The first one that really hooked me was Super Mario Bros. 3. This was a brand new feature of the Mario series, being able to see future levels and deciding your own path to the castle, sometimes creating shortcuts or discovering the hidden gaming island. Or in Skyland, wondering what this weird spiral building was, and then when you beat it, you're teleported up into the clouds. And you can see the previous map below you in the distance. I love details like that. Super Mario World did this pretty sly trick where partway through your journey you have to pass through these pipes that overlook Bowser's castle. You can't get to it yet, you've still got a lot of levels to go, but it's just a tantalizing tease for what's to come. That's good map. But as you know, my friends, we're here today to pay tribute to my favorite video game map of all time, the map of Hyrule from The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Talk about details! You can see every structure so clearly, and its vibrant colors really give you a sense of all the different kinds of terrain. You can point to areas of interest like that grove of trees, or the tower on Death Mountain, and say, let's go check that out. I guess I just prefer maps that are a little more cartoony with exaggerated features than super realistic ones. Compare this to Zelda's Breath of the Wild. It's just a bunch of browns. And I love Breath of the Wild and its world, don't get me wrong. And the cartography element is really cool since knowing the various elevations was essential for gameplay. But just glancing at this, the only thing that really stands out to me is the lava on Death Mountain. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about when I say I love maps with character. Like Skyrim is a great game. But I'm not gonna lie to you, to me, the map just looks like a pile of mashed potatoes. Heck, I'd rather have the map be one of those play rugs. At least that has things to look at. Or ideally, something like the map in Super Mario Bros. Ultimate. All kinds of different and distinct worlds, jungle, ice, deserts, even outer space. And I love how they created this little electronic themed section for the retro arcade games. Anyway, I've been wanting to recreate the map from Link to the Past ever since I first picked up a perler bead. It's an intimidating project though. At roughly 300 by 300 pixels, that's about 90,000 beads, and would end up being nearly 5 feet by 5 feet. People have done it, and it's an impressive accomplishment, but I wanted to think of a way to pay tribute while keeping the size more manageable. And I also really like creating projects that are easy for you guys to do at home. So here's what I did. I took that original 25 square foot pattern and tediously redesigned it 1 pixel at a time to fit into a single square foot. My goal was to keep all the little details visibly recognizable. Did I succeed? Let's find out. Let's begin with the center and work our way out, starting with Hyrule Castle. Now, I'll be mentioning some colors as I go along here, but I'll be sure to provide the complete color list and bead count as well at the end. The castle walls and rivers are just going to be a single line of beads, although the rivers will appear larger because they get another line of rust for the riverbanks. Remember what I always say when working on projects like this, the smallest detail can only be a single bead, so start there and work outwards, keeping features to scale. For this map, the smallest details are the trees. The grass is bright green. For the trees, I'll use a mix of dark green and evergreen. Hey, there's Link's house! I'm using salmon for the rooftops, but any kind of pink would do. Hyrule also has a lot of these little paths around. They're just going to be a single row of tan. Now, popping over to the village, You know I gotta get that weather vane in there, with some more buildings. These lighter green paths are sour apple beads, by the way. I was originally going to use kiwi lime, but they didn't stand out as much. Right above the village is the Lost Woods. And now we're starting to get into those white clouds that surround the map. Don't forget that little clearing in the trees where the Master Sword is. Oh yeah, spoilers, I guess. Now let's scale Death Mountain. I love the placement of Ganon's tower here. Great symbolism with it being at the top of the map, looking down on all of Hyrule. One of the coolest parts of the game for me was when you were climbing Death Mountain and briefly stumble into the Dark World. The tower transforms into this crazy flashing beacon. What the heck is going on? Looks like they're having a rave in there. Rust for the sides, just like the riverbanks, with gingerbread for the surface and browns for the entrances. We'll add the chapel and graveyard at the bottom, then it's over to the East Palace. This area is all tan, sand, and light brown, giving us some solid walls with a nice shadow effect. Throughout this entire piece, we're treating the light source as if it's on the left, just like the original game. It can get a little messy with all these earth tones, but by consistently using sand for the highlights and light brown for the shadows, we can create a pretty clear sense of the space. Then we'll pop over and make the grove, probably my favorite spot on the map. Something about that circle of trees just draws me in like a bullseye. Lake Hylia completes the southeast corner. We've been using cobalt for the water, by the way, and just like the riverbanks, the islands get a row of rust to lift them out of the water a bit. I also added some dark blue on the right side for their shadows in the water. One detail I just decided not to worry about was those little ladders leading into the lake. I thought they made the area look a little too busy, but if you want to add them, they'd just be a single bead. The swamp area naturally has a lot of texture in the grass, so I'll be dithering shamrock with dark green. Finally, the desert. Just use the same tricks as the East Palace. Sand defines the top of the structures, with light brown being the shadow. And the desert itself is just a few diagonal lines alternating between sand and tan. Using sand for the desert. I love it. And now, my friends, I can reveal to you that I've been making the piece backwards on the board the whole time. I just flipped the footage so we could compare my design to the original map as we made it. So, I'll be ironing the backside here, leaving the front beads to be clean and consistent. Once it cools, it's time to mount this to a 12 by 12 inch canvas. And because the border of the map is those white clouds, I don't even think we need to paint the canvas, right? It fits perfectly. Guys, I love the way this turned out. I usually don't hang up my own work in my house, but I've had this thing right by my desk since I made it because it's just so fun to look at. It's an extremely eye-catching piece, and what a conversation starter. Of course, now the question becomes, what map do we make next? Should we return to Mario 3 or Super Mario World? We'll keep going with Zelda with Ocarina of Time. What about that island map from Donkey Kong Country? So many options, maybe something I haven't thought of. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, you can click the map right there to get all the patterns to make your own, along with a full bead count and color list. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with another new project.